I totally do. That's not the point. Oh, hi guys, what's up? We're just comparing skull sizes here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Cameron's melon.
Yeah, to another episode. Threw me off there. Another episode of the Let's Talk Double Edge blah blah blah, and this could very easily devolve into another kind of format.
It's chaos.
I'm quickly realizing for future reference, if we talk about something that's kind of not relevant, forgive me, but yeah, I could see it. I could see that happening real quick. Just I'm admitting it right now. Anywho, enough blathering because I'm already blown it here. This is Apotheon, a game I actually only just recently finally tried out, and it's really charming.
I'm trying not to giggle because they're using the papyrus font.
Yes, of course. Because papyrus is an Egyptian plant, I think.
Because a year ago, that's like a joke font, but now everyone's using it, and I delight in it.
Well, okay, hold on. I should take a step back. This game itself is of Greek influence. It does that whole like hieroglyphic kind of thing. Is that the correct word for it? For artwork?
I don't know. I just know that I want to watch Hercules now.
Yeah. Okay. Enough blathering.
I was about 2 seconds away from singing the gospel truth.
A minute and 30 seconds in, and we haven't...
We've got jack shit done.
I haven't revealed my topic yet. Okay, moving on. Today's topic, I had mine, which has nothing to do with this gameplay. This is just for the sake of filler, as it were. The topic today, though, is I think is serious enough. Hype.
Yes.
And how it affects everything when it comes to decision making, and obviously the bad side to it, being let down by hype.
Yes.
Okay, so what I had in particular mind is before I get to what I think is a decent point, is like what kind of games hype you? Let's start with there.
Well, it depends on the type of hype, because I do believe that there's good hype and bad hype.
Yes.
Good hype is kind of like the Bethesda method, where they don't give up too much too soon. Because a lot of companies like EA will just bombard you from day one. We're developing this game. Here's progress. Here's this. Here's that. Oh, you get to do this. We're going to show you a whole freaking level right off the get-go.
Well, to EA's credit, and yes, I am saying that, but they don't really have to try hard now. Considering they could just release the same Madden with a reskin every year, and people will buy it. And that's just as much on the people for buying it as much as it is EA.
Not that you're automatically bad for liking EA games, because it just depends, like, I don't know. With Bethesda, it's like, for Fallout 4, they got the hype going in a good way, I think, with the whole countdown and then showing them the teaser and...
Well, I think
all within a year of releasing it, and I think that's a good pace, because if you do it like 3 years ahead of time, you have to keep the hype going. Well, you can't peak and then just let it dwindle, because then by then it's like, oh well, we've already seen everything for it, and then when you actually play the game, it's like, oh, this isn't as good as the footage was.
Right. Good on Bethesda for waiting almost until the last minute to make their big reveal for like.
Especially because with all the fan hoaxes and stuff, it was one of those things where it's like, oh, we might never get a Fallout 4, and then bam, out of nowhere, here it is, and within a week I'm going to be playing it, and that's awesome.
Right, like, when it comes to, like, I think when it comes to, like, trailer reveals and all that, I'm not against no gameplay trailers. I think, like, for me, this is going to sound incredibly strange. I almost like knowing a game is about to exist more than having the game itself. Because, like, with Star Wars Battlefront,
that's the Simpsons joke. It's the anticipation.
Right.
Anticipation is delicious.
Like, in my mind, there's just some games you cannot possibly be disappointed at because that's just your thing. Like Battlefront, I didn't care how bad that game was going to be in the end. I knew I would enjoy it.
Yeah, see, if you're a fan of it and you know, like, you're not a huge graphics snob or this or that, like, if you go into a Bethesda game knowing there's going to be bugs, you're not going to be disappointed.
Right, well, that is kind of the double edge there, in that if you are a fan and your developing company knows that, then the pressure is even more so because they don't want to disappoint the fan. That's kind of the downer on the developer, and that's not on. It's not on the. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of it can half be on the developer and the other half isn't.
A lot of developers nowadays just don't give a shit, though.
No, they don't.
They just want money. It's literally about, okay, they like this series, let's make another one and milk this as long as we can.
Well, I do have to half side with them, once again, halvesies, in that, when you start out as a small company and you start making money and you get bigger and all that, your instinct is to naturally make more money. But yes, you're right. Half the time that does result in the suffering of the quality of a game.
It's just... I don't like the phrase AAA. AAA does nothing for me. Graphics do nothing for me. Give me a functioning game with a good story that is mildly replayable, even in the slightest, and I will give you my money.
So you prefer story?
Oh, definitely, because it's... I mean, I know Nintendo's kind of running themselves into the ground, just making the same franchises over and over. Not that then they're not trying with Splatoon and all that, but... I find it so much easier to just replay older Nintendo games than trying to play a new AAA title, because more often than not, about 10 minutes into a AAA game, I'm like, well, yeah, okay, this is fun and all, whatever. Can I go play Pokemon Snap now?
Right. I personally, when it comes to that, I don't, mind disappointment sometimes, It's, like, lately, I've been finding myself incredibly hyped for a game, like Watch Dogs or a couple of I just can't bring them to mind. I'll remember them as I go. But I'll be incredibly hyped for a game, and then like last minute I'll just be like, wait a minute, Assassin's Creed Unity's going to be shit.
Yeah, see.
And I convinced myself not to buy it, and sure enough, bam, my prophecy comes true.
There are some cases though where it's objective, like I just know the game's not going to be my thing, and then there's cases where it's obvious it's going to be shit, like Unity.
Yeah, I mean like. And I wasn't even thinking of how like it would come out buggy. I expect Ubisoft to be better than that, but
like
I was just thinking after Assassin's Creed 4, how could I possibly have fun with this?
Like there are just some genres I will not touch, not because they're inherently bad, just because it's not my play style. But I can look at the hype from a distance for a game in that style and be like, oh well, good for the fans. That looks awesome. I hope you guys enjoy it.
I was saying in my previous episode. Where I touched on reboots, and I was using Thief heavily as an example.
Reboots or remakes?
Reboots. I guess reboots, remakes. What's the difference, really?
Because with movies, it's more clear when something's a reboot or a remake.
Well, I think this applies to movies too. My point is,
with video games, it's a little trickier.
My point is, movies or unless it really sucked. In this case, redoing all the history kind of makes sense. But if it's a great history, then I say, why'd you reboot this? Like, Devil May Cry. I mean, like, I'm not arguing whether that's a good series or not.
I think it's an opposite of what movies do, because with movies, I feel like the point of a remake is, oh, look, we have fancy new graphics now. We can do it this way instead of the old-fashioned way. And just for that sake, isn't necessarily good. But for video games, it tends to benefit, because when you try to change stuff up with video games, more often than not, it's like, oh, why'd you fuck up the story?
Right.
But with movies, when you try to add something new to it, more often than not, it's better. Because, like, the original Judge Dredd movie, it was okay, and it's iconic and campy, but it didn't follow the comic books as closely. And the new one, I was afraid it was just going to be a graphics fest, but then you actually watch it, and it's like, A, it's closer to the comics, and B, it's badass.
Well, I tend not to like video game reboots, because it just... Especially if it was already a good series, because they just wipe out a lot of the history and lore and the characters I fall in love with.
True. I don't play a lot of remakes or reboots, so I can't really say... I don't really have any in my memory banks I can pull up and say, yeah, that was absolute shit, or, oh, that was good, I'm glad they remade it.
Right.
I will say I am kind of excited for the Final Fantasy VII one. Not that I'm deeply into Final Fantasy.
Well, yeah, that's a remake.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. They're not... As far as I know, they're not going to tinker too much with the winning formula.
There's a difference between remakes no one asked for and remakes everyone wants, because Final Fantasy VII is one of those games that would probably be pretty cool to see. Because, I mean... Oh, gosh.
Well, I mean, like I said...
Advent Children is... I can't believe it's, 10 years old at least, and it looks fucking gorgeous to this day. So
for a CG movie.
But still, they can apply that to Final Fantasy VII. The polygons, you can't beat the polygons, you can't beat the style, that'll always be classic to me.
I imagine when the game comes out, it'll look infinitely better than the movie.
Well, no,
not just because of a technological upgrade.
That's what I'm saying, though. That was from 10 years ago. I'm saying, can you imagine how it's going to look now?
Well, I keep making a case that I'm just so jaded by graphics nowadays, and I think I said ever since Mass Effect 2.
I understand. Graphics don't do anything for me, but when you take something old and then put new graphics on it, it's like, oh, cool, we get to see it.
Well, I mean, like, look at this game right here, Apotheon. This game is doing wonders with that.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. This is an original IP. This is an indie game or what have you. This is...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
This
it's
isn't
indie.
something that... This isn't just some AAA Call of Duty where, look, we have new graphics. When you take...
I don't see the difference in graphics over the years on Call of Duty games.
No, I don't either.
And I'm not dissing on Call of Duty games. I think it's a winning formula, but they don't need so many games every year.
My point is I don't care about graphics for graphics' sake, but I do like seeing remakes so you can see something old and clunky in nice, shiny new graphics and see what they were originally going for if they had the technology back then.
Well, I find myself impossible to hype up for a reboot. Remake I can hype myself up for because it's like, oh yeah, you know, because there is so much demand for that kind of thing. You don't hear demand for reboots ever.
For me, I just want sequels to stuff that's ancient, like a Pokemon Snap 2. Just
Yeah,
give me that, and I'll be happy.
I would much prefer a sequel, and I said this in that episode. I would much prefer just another sequel, even if it means the franchise is bad. Like, here's an example of a franchise I genuinely do think could use a reboot: Resident Evil. Or just leave it alone altogether.
I just say leave it alone. It's been beat to death enough. Like, go by all means do the HD remakes. That's back to my graphics point.
Yeah, remake Resident Evil 2. I think they're actually doing that.
But don't keep beating the horse to death. If you're gonna do a sequel, go back to the clunky, trapped in a mansion thing. Don't keep trying to do this action RPG thing. It's not gonna work.
I'd say do something else, unless that mansion is like some kind of like.
The original 3 games worked because that's what it was. It was terrifying. The graphics were kind of muddy and creepy, and everything was claustrophobic, and that's what worked. But when you put it, try to like 5 was fun only because we played it together the first time, and that's why we remember it.
That thing is implayable
by yourself.
Solo.
And 6 is just
and I think I used the wrong word.
And 6 is just absolute garbage because they're trying to go for a shooter, and that's not what Resident Evil was supposed to be originally. It's supposed to be this creepy kind of not mystery game or even really a puzzle game. It was its own kind of weird little thing, and it worked.
Yeah, calling it a mystery game is like
like say what you want about the new Silent Hills. At least it's sticking to what it's true to originally.
Yeah.
It's not straying into that weird shooter, oh, let's make everything what the people want, blow stuff up territory. It's trying to keep the spookiness. I
think I don't know what to have called that new Silent Hills game. A reboot, a remake, a sequel.
Whatever it was going to be good.
That was good hype, because it's like...
That was good hype.
Whether it was warranted or not, I mean, just the fact that they got big names working on it.
Well, but the names behind it, big or no, it would have been interesting to see that follow through, because Guillermo del Toro knows how to tell a story.
He's a mad genius.
He's a madman, by all means, but god damn, that game would have been awesome. That really is a disappointment.
Well, here's the thing I was saving until later. I might as well go and say it now. We got plenty of time. Looking forward to it and being disappointed. You know, the whole point of this topic is, I think, in my professional and unprofessional opinion, whatever you call it, I think hype is more than okay. You should never...
no, there's nothing inherently wrong with hype.
Everyone always says, oh, the hype train and all that, and I think, well, yeah, you're supposed to get yourself worked up for a game.
Well, yeah.
Whether it's succeeds or fails, because here's the thing, it's not just the video game industry that's full of disappointment, people. Life in entirety is full of disappointment.
I think
video games is just part of it.
I think it's the good hype and the bad hype. Good hype is hype on the part of the fans. They're getting excited for it. They're drawing fan art. They're speculating. That's good hype. Bad hype is the developer touting new gameplay every fucking day, saying, look, we added a dog, we added this, we added that, and just basically letting you see too much before it's even out. I like a little bit of mystery. However, I don't like when they show absolutely nothing and then they put that ban on, like, what's the term? When they put, like, a ban on reviews and stuff before the game is out, or previews or whatever, because then you know something's up. If the developer is not willing to... I mean, I'm all for secrecy and not wanting to let too much of the game out before it's out, but there is something that kind of makes me worry when they won't let people review it.
And that right there kind of brings up a good point, and kind of why I wish I went with more Shadow of Mordor footage. Got to mix it up every now and then, but Shadow of Mordor, there's a good example of a game that was incredibly hyped more than the developers probably realized. And apparently there was a big scandal where they were paying off journalists and big YouTubers to actually say nothing but good things about the game. Which is a fucking tragedy, because the game was incredibly good either way.
But then it's that overhang of like they still, even if it did turn out good, they still made people say it was good.
See, that was a sleeper hit in a way, because they actually, hold on, I take it back. They didn't actually overhype that game. They gave it just enough. I was so excited to play that game, and to hear that bullshit was being pulled off, I was like, dude, you guys were so good.
It does hang a bit of a sheet on it, because it's like, man, that you guys had nothing to be afraid of. Why are you pulling all this sneaky shit?
Right, and see, that's an example of bad hype.
That shows to me that, I think that's more sad than anything. I mean, yeah, it was sneaky, but it also shows that they didn't have confidence in their product, which means it's like, because it makes you question, what went wrong during development? Why were they not confident in it?
Right. Now, I said how good hype, I think there's nothing but good. That's not entirely true. I will say, yeah, bad hype is when they tell you already like the game.
Yeah, they shove all that stuff down your throat, and it's like, yeah, okay.
That's bad hype.
Or just showing off graphics, because when a developer just touts graphics on end, it's like, yeah, okay, what about the story? What about the characters? Let's see some real gameplay.
Right.
I don't care about just the graphics. Does the game function?
Right. Well, I mean, like, the Aliens Colonial Marines, there was a big thing, and Pro Jared kind of already talked all about this.
Colonial Marines.
Yeah, and he was talking about, it was a good rant. He was talking about how he was going to all these events, and he says something like, in hindsight, I should have seen all this crap coming, how they would only let him play as the Marines in multiplayer matches, and only the developers would play as the aliens, and how there was so much, like, of this E3 stuff that they showed off, and it turns out none of that was in there, in the final product.
Yeah.
It's like...
I mean, I can understand stuff getting cut for, like, memory space, etc., but when it's up to the release and there's absolutely none of what they promised, that's a bit of a disappointment.
Right.
Another form of bad hype, in my opinion, is when it's just one guy doing the hype. I mean, I understand if it's an indie game and it literally is just a handful, if not just one person making it. But when you leave all of the discussion and PR to one person, like Peter Molyneux, and because it's their baby...
Peter Molyneux.
Well, yeah, because the guy has this habit of just talking a storm up about his game and then making everything seem like, oh, you get to do this, this, and this, and then when you actually play it, it's just...
Well, in the case of, like, Fable 1, he promised all this stuff. And I found this out after I bought the game. I thought the game was great by itself.
Oh, yeah, no, Fable...
But that's because I didn't know how much there was supposed to be in it.
See, that's why I'm one of those people that kind of ignores social media and websites and stuff leading up to a game. Like, for the Fallout 4, another case of good hype is the Are You Special videos. That's a way of getting you hyped for the game without
a good way of not showing you the game. Just showing you this is the fandom. We know how to stimulate fans.
Showing you how much they like what they've made and are having fun with it, without showing you just direct footage, and I delight in that so much.
Yeah, like for the campaign for the Halo games, it's just a little tired.
It's too, they're trying to make it too much like it's a movie about to be released, and it's like, yeah, Halo's good, and it's never really done anything totally, like...
See, Halo's a good game on its own.
Halo's a good game, but it's just tired.
Yeah, it's just talking about it's kind of tiring, actually.
And I think just the pop culture surrounding it, the, dude, bro, Mountain Dew, Dorito, double XP kind of thing.
I enjoy that exists.
Which, no,
I'm not part of it, but
it is funny
love that
sometimes.
fandom so much.
It is funny sometimes, and I'm not saying it's inherently bad. I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever.
It's obnoxious, sure.
It's a bit obnoxious. It's a bit, mass markety, and it's just not my thing. If it's your thing, whatever. If you have fun with it, that's cool. I mean, yeah, double XP, that's badass. Yeah, but just the whole market tie-in thing's a little silly.
For all its faults, I'm not against Halo or Call of Duty communities or developers or even the hype. I kind of really like the hype that comes with the Call of Duty game. They do a good job. I mean, even though it's mostly like Rolling Stones songs at this point, but I think they do a good job. I enjoy the commercials,
but
as samey as those commercials can be.
But that's the thing. I mean,
I don't buy the games though.
Call of Duty fans. It's a set community. It's just the Call of Duty fan base. There it is. They're always gonna buy the games. They're set. They have a dedicated fan base.
Well, at some point it'll be like World of Warcraft, or it'll be unbeatable, but it's not really growing anymore either.
Yeah, it's not growing. They know it works, and they're like, oh well, they like this. We'll stick to this formula. So they do it every year because they don't think they need to improve or innovate in any way. And it's not that they're bad games. It's going to stagnate after a while because they feel like they don't need to improve for the sake of a better fan base.
Here's a radical idea. All you should have done was, well, and like I said, this is might be a bit extremist. Just do what World of Warcraft did and release the one game, or I guess Rock Band's a good example. What they should have done too is just release the one game and then expansion pack the shit out of it. I mean, even World of Warcraft updated their graphics recently.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, more often than not, I see fan communities contributing more than the actual community. Because a good example is like Vampire Masquerade. The company that made it basically disbanded within a month of that game being released, which is a tragedy.
That's such a good game.
But since then, the fan community really just picked it up, said, "Okay, you're our child now. We're gonna take care of you." They made mods that made it look better. They smoothed out the bugs just from fan dedication alone.
I think that's because, as far as I know, no one owned the property at that point, so it's like, okay, go nuts.
Yeah,
you guys can do whatever you want.
True, but it's
but
just.
It goes to show you that a bunch of, I don't want to say non-professionals, because for all I know, those modders were a bunch of professionals. That it goes to show that, quote unquote, these AAA developers don't always make the best game. Here, a bunch of fans made the best game.
True. I mean, you really did think about it. Vampire Masquerade, yeah, the developers made it, but what really made it last was the fans. I don't think Call of Duty has that kind of momentum after it's all said and done. How much longer can Call of Duty go? Yeah, you can make mods for it, but because...
Well, it's so much... It's going to be a genre thing.
The most... I mean, with those types of games, the mods you kind of see are kind of cheatsy mods or mods that make it silly or whatever. I don't know. It's just my opinion.
You really like the hacks in TF2, I noticed.
Oh, no. A quick story. Like, the one time I tried Call of Duty, there was, I don't know, no matter what lobby I went to, it just... Nothing against the Call of Duty community. I have met people, that are fans of it, that play it, that are nice guys. Nobody wins by generalizing. But more often than not, when you see hacking in that game, it's always for kind of cheating purposes, trolling, what have you. Any case of modding or cheating or hacking I saw in TF2 was for hilarious results. None of it was in mean spirits.
Yeah.
I remember, I forget what,
They trapped us in 2 Fort with cardboard cow cutouts.
Yeah, someone had modded,
They couldn't get in, but we couldn't get out either.
Someone had hacked it to where, the cardboard cow cutouts you see kind of over the fences and stuff were, like, in front of doors and stuff.
They mooed and everything.
I spawned, and I heard mooing, and I'm like, why does that sound so close? Is something wrong with my audio? And I can't even leave the door because there's a cow right when you open the door.
Wanted you to milk him.
I mean, yeah, it was cheating, but it was the most hilarious
example
of cheating.
It wasn't cheating because they couldn't get in either. It
True.
was just they just did that just to be dicks for fun, whatever you want.
And then you see those griefing videos where it's like the dig dug noise or the
to be fair, that game wasn't going anywhere anyway.
The Billy Mays.
Are you on the ball?
Any time I've ever personally run into any sort of hacking in TF2, it's always been for fun. It's never been in mean spirits. And just a shout out to the TF2 community. I do not play online games a lot for many reasons. I'm a shy kind of nervous person, and interaction is like, oh gosh, humans.
This is that warning I was given at the beginning of the video, how we're trying to stay on topic, and here we are talking about hacks in TF2.
Well, no, I just wanted to give a shout out, because anytime I've ever interacted with anyone on TF2, it's always been, you guys are a delight. I've never met a mean person on TF2 or on GTA, because people talk shit like, oh, it's a bunch of dude bros. No, both times I accidentally went into a lobby in TF2, people were like being nice and shit, and I'm like, oh my god.
Here, since we're almost out of time here, let's go on staying on topic here on Valve having made TF2 and the topic of hype. Somehow let's get the train back on those tracks.
Well, excuse you, mister.
See now, when a game goes on too long, like I mean, should Half-Life 3 even count at this point? Are they? It's
you mean development?
Yeah.
Well,
is there any hype at all, or is that just a meme now?
Well, it kind of is, because it's entirely consistent of fan hype. There has never been a single thing where they said, oh, we're making it. It is entirely based in the community. It's entirely, oh, guys, Half-Life 3 is coming out 2052 or whatever. I mean, it is a meme. At the same time, I mean, I do want them to, have something to look forward to. I know that's something they really want. Considering just a few months ago, we had no clue that they were actually making a Fallout 4. I really don't have anything to say about the Half-Life 3 thing. You know,
yeah.
I hope they get it, but I also hope that they don't take it too far and get aggressive about it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, although I will say, just fussing about with Dota 2 when they could be making sequels or new IPs, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
And there you have it.
Whatever.
Yep. Well, see, this is why I like bringing you on board these things. You articulate better than I do.
Well, I don't know about that.
I mean, Ice Soda, you should see some of my videos.
No.
You don't watch my videos? What's wrong with you? You're banned. I'm gonna get the ban hammer on you.
Cameron, I live with you.
There's no hype in that. Look at that guy. He's hyping to the moon.
He is ascending.
He actually is ascending. I think he's ascending to
His people need him.
Olympus. This is a good game. This game had nothing to do with what we talked about in the slightest.
True.